Well, good morning, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Behind the Mic with me, Mike Avery, here in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio. And I am indeed behind two mics. This one, my social media mic, and that one, my official broadcast microphone that I will bring into the mix here as we start recording the radio show. Good morning, Cliff. How are you, John? Always a pleasure. I see you. Was that yesterday you were sitting in the tree stand? How did you do? It My setup is a little bit different here this morning. I couldn't quite get things to work, so you'll notice, if you've been with me before, that the framing on this whole thing is a little bit off. It's not bad, but it's just different than what I'm used to. So we're trying a little something different this morning just to, deal with some technical issues as sometimes get involved in my, live streams. I hope we got along with us this morning. Bruce, Captain, John, Craig, how you doing, buddy? Mike, always a pleasure. Rick says, "Good frosty morning." Yeah, it's a little chilly out there this morning. Feels good though, doesn't it? One of those mornings where you kinda wish that you were, I kinda wish I was sitting in a tree stand. Well, sitting in a ground line. I don't do much, hunting. Let me see if I can change that. I don't do a lot of hunting from, tree stands anymore. If I'm gonna be in a stand, it's going to be, a ladder stand for sure. I'm just not sold on that framing, but for this time around, it is what it is. Hey, Joe, good morning. How are you? Julie, nice to have you along with us. Rick says, yes, indeed, it does. It feels like a good morning. Uncle Johnny, how are you, buddy? Thank you for dinner last night. Appreciate your generosity. Always great to see you and Aunt Debbie. Mark, good morning. Corey, how you doing, buddy? Are you fishing now, Corey, or are you hunting right now? Probably a little bit of both. There, my framing gets better if I move a little bit this direction. Okay. Again, you might notice it looks a little bit different. I could do this, right? I could do this and change to that. But then that's weird. You don't wanna see that, right? I don't wanna see that. See, I'm having some problems with, I think, uh I think my system wants to do an update. Sound is a little off today, let me check that. Everything's a little bit off today. It's just one of those mornings where, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sound is a little off today. Saw lots of those yesterday, 2 small bucks, a decent 4 point. Tom Turkey saw me and decided not to come in. Charlie checking in with a new phone over on YouTube. What'd you get, Charlie? I'm actually, shooting this video right now in this live stream and pretty much all my video these days with, an iPhone 16 Pro Max. I like the audio features on that. Tim, checking in from Skidway, 29 degrees this morning. Corey says, "Neither. Fixing his deck, gotta get it done so I can do both." The fall brawl and the slam calling a name deer are on their feet this morning. I've had a chance to get out and do some, bow hunting, a couple of times so far. Well, since we've last talked, yeah, a couple of times. Haven't had a shot at anything. In fact, haven't seen anything yet. I had deer moving around me the other night. I'm sitting on a food plot that we put in. I say we, my son James put the food plots in. I was busy doing other things. So, I'm not buck hunting. If I see a nice buck, I would shoot it, but I'm not going to. So I know I'm out there doe hunting. Um, and the first big doe I see that gives me a shot, I will shoot her. Not buck hunting, don't have a target list, I didn't name my bucks, I don't have trail camera pictures of them, but I have succumbed a little bit to modern day bow hunting, modern day deer hunting in Michigan. For example, I'm sitting over a food plot on our leased property, so it's not like I'm out there on, state land, but I don't have a target list, I'm not waiting for a mature buck, yada, 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 yada. Jim says he just refinished his deck. It took 5 days. Charlie says he joined cheap. The Samsung 24 got the $700 one. Uh, $700 for a phone isn't cheap, but I hear what you're saying. Randy, good morning. How are you? Mad Jack, always a pleasure, buddy. How have you been? This morning in the studio, what is it? Michigan brand honey barbecue. How were they, Art? Oh, good. Art Lewis said they're good. John, have you had one yet? I've not. All right. We always have a snack here in the studio. Always Michigan brand. Art, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm liking the cooler weather out here and getting ready to do some hunting. Put the boat away. Didn't make it on the Angler Quest this year, did you?
No.
But we can do it next year. There's always next year,
Right.
except when you're our age. Maybe there's not.
You
It's
never know.
okay what we can get. Look forward to it. All right. Bertie, good morning. How are you? Jay, I don't know if you heard Art say that. I didn't say your age. I said our age. He slapped me in the back and said, "Hey, thanks for your support." Art, you're an icon, buddy. We know that. We love you. Lance Valentine, my friend, another good friend of mine. How are you? Another friend, Mark. Always a pleasure. Nice to have you along with us. Jim says he's looking for a mature doe only this year. Have to get 4 brats to make room in my freezer. My my Michigan Bear is at Michigan brand right now. It is getting made just a few brats and mostly bear burgers. Matt, good morning. How are you? Captain Mark, how are things? I don't think you're waterfall hunting yet. Mark, I think you kick off in a couple of weeks. Are you fishing? Captain Mark sounds like a real fish. Penanza, it's just like Smith, only with more letters. Randy, I love seeing the pictures of the young people hunting with smiles on their faces. I do too, Randy. In fact, that's why I've teamed up with the folks at the Forward Corporation. We have a thing going where if we post a picture of a young person in the outdoors hunting or fishing, I will tag it with Forward Fuels Tradition, and each month we will draw a winner from those posts, and the family will get a $50 gift certificate, $50 gift card to any of the Forward Shell, any of the Forward convenience stores. In fact, all of the Forward convenience stores carry Michigan brand products, and you can give those a try. You are relaxing until the 26th. Yeah, Judy, haven't seen you lately. I hope everything is fine. I hope all is good and all is well in your world. Hey, Jim, been thinking about you a lot lately and casting for walleye. The Angler Quest is finally getting pulled out of the water here. I'm gonna pull it Monday. In fact, Monday is the day of the new Angler Quest QUEST dealers meeting. So a lot of things, exciting things happening in Angler Quest. I'm gonna get my Angler Quest finally out of it. I see him, Corey, just haven't had a chance to look at him yet. Um, and then I wanna start casting for some walleye. Brad, good morning. Lance Valentine, Sir Lancelot, how you doing, buddy? Always a pleasure. Mike, I'm doing great. How are you? Let me check those pics real quick here. Oh, right in front of your elevated blind. Nice, Corey. And then, of course, the deck that needs to get done. Beautiful deck too. Robert, how are things in Hope, Mark said he talked to Ed yesterday. We're looking forward to Ohio bow hunting outfitters. Have fun, guys. Wish I could be down there with you. Jim, good morning, buddy. Nice to have you along with us on this edition of Behind the Mic. So what's going on? Fall continues. Cooler temps, love it. Leaves changing, love it. I have been out hunting a couple times. Again, I'm doe hunting. I'm not buck hunting. I'm not going to give you the illusion that if a nice buck walked in front of me, I wouldn't shoot it. But I'm also not under the illusion or delusion that a nice buck is going to walk in front of me on our lease property. It's not going to happen. Are there a few wandering around? Are we using trail cameras to keep an eye on them? Yes. There is one buck that probably 2.5 years old, and if he walked in front of me, I would shoot him. But he's not going to walk in front of me. I know that. So I'm out there hunting does. I haven't named them. I don't have a hit list. I don't have, um, I just but again, we have succumbed to lease property and hunting over food plots. So I haven't, I bought into some of it. Good luck, Jim. Cliff says, "Who's on the show this week?" I can tell you. My first guest this week is Don Barnard. Don, a friend of mine, a retired DNR fisheries biologist who loves to target fall muskies. My grandson Trent, 2 weeks ago, was fishing a mid-Michigan river, maybe 3 weeks ago now, fishing a mid-Michigan river, with his buddy in a kayak. They were casting crankbaits, and they caught a very, very big muskie, in water that I wouldn't have expected they would have caught a muskie. So we're gonna talk to fall fishing with Don Barnard. Also, he's in North Dakota right now. We might talk a little North Dakota bird hunting. Tom West, DNR, wraps up the first hour. He's talking about the Michigan Sportsmen Against Hunger program. You can donate your venison to, help out the needy people. I think it's a great program. In hour number 2, Nick Green. Nick used to be with MUCC. He is now with the Nimrod Society, and I didn't really realize what Nimrod Society was. To me, Nimrod always had a bad connotation. If you'd say, "Hey, somebody's a real Nimrod," you think, well, the Nimrod in the Bible is a hunter. So, um, he's working with the Nimrod Society at Hope College, Hillsdale College, and they're very concerned about the future of hunting, as am I. So we're gonna talk with Nick about that. Then Adam Bump from the DNR on, pheasant hunting, the Michigan pheasant season coming up soon now. This week's Ask Avery question from Matt Zimmerman out of, Grand Rapids. He says, "I've been hearing a lot of whitetails have been dying from EHD. I work in East Grand Rapids, and the clients I work with are telling me they found dozens upon dozens of dead deer. Do you know anything about this? Are the animals still safe for consumption?" Chad Stewart will join me to talk about that, but I will tell you, Chad says this is the worst outbreak of CWD in Michigan in 12 years, in more than a decade. In our 3rd hour, we will continue on the, pheasant hunting theme and probably bear hunting and deer hunting with Tom Lounsbury, and we'll wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner. Okay. Reason for the 2 texts. I don't know, Bernie. Morning, David. Johnny says he's wrapping up bear season. It's done. Although Johnny has started deer hunting. Got a deer with his truck last night. Bill Hoffman, the most interesting man in Michigan, who wrote the, Ballad of Mike Avery that I'm not using as the theme music for my behind the mic segments, but I think I'm gonna turn it into my theme music for my Wednesday night live stream segments. There's also a video on YouTube. Bill is posting new songs every day during the month of October over on the Michigan Bow Hunters podcast page. I thought I was special, but I'm not. Charlie, you're like me hunting for tacos, chili hamburgers on backstrap. Yep. Tommy, good morning. Jim, Captain Jim, prayers for all those with properties in Florida and the Southeast. We're so lucky. I don't know what you mean. You mean N. EHD, worst outbreak of EHD. If I said CWD, I made a mistake. Worst outbreak of EHD in more than 10 years in Michigan, according to the DNR. Jim, going back to this, I've got a good friend, Scott Gatza. In fact, he was bear hunting with Johnny. He got a late start on that hunt because he had to go to Florida to get their Florida house ready for the first hurricane. He did everything he could, and the property was still decimated. Um, so, it doesn't have to be people who live in Florida. It could be some of our Michigan friends who have properties in Florida. Michigan's meteorologist, Mark Torregrossa, has a place in Florida, and it seems like he's always going down there to fix hurricane damage. EHD. Yeah, if I said CWD, I'm wrong. EHD, the worst outbreak of EHT in Michigan in more than a decade. Again, what do we eat this morning, Michigan brand? These are the honey barbecue sticks. They are outstanding. They smell great. They're not as good as the Mike Avery Hunter sticks. Good morning, Dave. How are you? Okay, what else is on my list? Bernie says pictures of deer in Mount Palm County. That's a little far north. I didn't realize that. What else? I will probably bow hunt. It is my plan to bow hunt tomorrow night. Charlie, you today?
This is me today.
Do you see what we have, Charlie? Michigan brand honey barbecue hunter sticks.
Is this the new ones you were talking about?
These are not the flavored,
Oh,
but they're
okay.
very good.
Oh, they're-
They smell good.
Thank you.
Yeah, they do smell good. Any walleye action on Saginaw Bay? It's going to get nothing better now as the water temps drop. What else? Now, walleye action on Saginaw Bay, mediocre right now. It will get better, but as I was saying earlier, um, my plans for the fall are to do some bow hunting and do more casting, nighttime casting for walleye from shore, from docks and such. Uh, Jim Hoppy, who was on the show here a few weeks ago, says, Avery, you can go right into the marina where you keep the angler quest in the summertime and cast from shore there, or cast from docks there. He says, if you see shad busting, it's busting because they're being fed on, most likely because of walleye are feeding on them. Jim, well, speaking of Jim, right there he is. And getting fish casting at night, it's not lights out, but there are fish. Leaves, the leaves turned so early this year. And at my place, they're dropping slow and steady. It's not one big gush, like you'll fill the backyard up, but, they keep dropping. Kevin, how you doing? Nice to have you along with us on this edition of, Behind the Mic. Scott, anticipation for the Zone 3 waterfowl season is eating at me. Does that open the 26th? Interesting point, Cliff, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's one of my topics of discussion. I don't remember a year. Jerry, I'm cleaning my walleye, after the show, and yes, it's getting cold tonight. Cliff, I don't remember a year where the corn was coming off as early as it is this year. There are a lot of years where we still have standing corn for the November 15th firearm season opener. Farmers are taking down corn like crazy right now. I doubt if there will be much corn standing by November 1st. Lance says, Lance Valentine, still some good pods of fish north of buoy 1. They are slowly sliding towards the breaks off the west shore and the west edge of the river channel to start moving in as the water temps drop. This cold snap and the wind should get them going. That from Sir Lancelot, Lance Valentine of Teachin' Fishin', teachinfishin.com. Jim, good morning. Robert, the woods are a tinderbox right now. There's a lot of acorns dropping now in the woods. I've noticed that, but, if you can find an oak flat right now, set up on it because the deer are feeding like crazy, at least on the property that we lease. Seeing a lot of movement of deer through those oak flats because indeed the acorns are dropping like crazy. Have you ever been into an acorn to see what they taste like? Um, Cliff says, "I watched a cornfield burning yesterday from a combine on fire. We had a field fire Sunday just east of my church. I don't know if it was a combine, I don't know what it was, but, yeah, the fields are so dry that they catch on fire, and it's a shame. Dry September was great for crops, not so great for pasture." Bernie says last year there were still 200 acres of corn by his farm the 2nd week of January. I bet not this year. Hey, Bernie. So getting the corn down good morning. Raymond, Record acorn drop in Oakland County.
So 1 minute.
Fire west of Gagetown, yeah, Sunday. So, well, that's what we hear, Tim. Combine hit a rock on 11 mile for that fire. Um, that's what I keep hearing too. But how you really gonna know? Was it a combine hit a rock? Was it, stubble got caught up in the, exhaust? I don't know. That's the story I've heard. Combine hit a rock, combine hit a rock. And that's the story I hear from the news people. Listen, I spent 11 years in TV news. I take what I get from the news, except for WSGW radio, with a grain of salt.
15 seconds.
All right, my friends. Have a good day. I will be back here tonight for another edition of 2, 1, blast off. I will be back here tonight. Let me move this away so I can see the comments. Fishing reservoirs. Interesting, Lance. Are we talking Michigan reservoirs or are you talking the Western reservoirs? Yeah, folks, I'll be back tonight for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. I'll work in the new theme music, The Ballad of Mike Avery. Thank you. The most interesting man in Michigan, Bill Hoffman. Bill, good luck there in the ground blind. I'll be out there tomorrow night. Yeah, with the weather allowing, schedule allowing, wind allowing, I will be Great Lake Reservoir. All right, my friends, have a good day. Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine radio show right here in the Outdoor Magazine radio network on more than 30 radio stations across the great state of Michigan. And so glad to have you along with us as our fall continues. Great time of year, isn't it? Wonderful time of year. The temperatures are cooler. The leaves continue to change, even some of them dropping. That can be good news for hunters, right? If you are a upland bird hunter, a squirrel hunter, a deer hunter, as much as we love to see those beautiful fall colors, when the leaves drop or the woods just open right up, it's a whole different situation, isn't it? Now, I don't want the leaves to drop right away. Don't get me wrong. I love the fall colors. Interesting this fall, though, and I think this is of a note for deer hunters. The corn is coming down this year early. I mean, there are a lot of years where we still have standing corn for the firearm season opener, middle of November. At the rate they're going in my part of the state, I don't think there will be any standing corn by November 1st. So good for them and good for deer hunters. Because if you get a bunch of standing corn, the deer, they love it, right? They can bed there, they can feed there, they can hide there, and it can be hard to get deer out of standing corn. Statistically and traditionally, the deer harvest numbers tend to be a little better, at least, in the southern part of the state where we have cornfields as a factor. The firearm season harvest is better in years where there isn't much standing corn, so maybe look forward to that. I have been taking advantage of this fall. I've been out a couple of times bow hunting. Um, my bow hunting is probably not like your bow hunting in that when I go out there, I'm not looking for or expecting to shoot a buck. I'm doe hunting. Why is that? Now, I'm not gonna lie to you and say, if a respectable buck walked in front of me and gave me a shot, I wouldn't shoot it because I would. But I'm being realistic here in my expectations. Um, the property that we hunt has a fair number of year-and-a-half-old bucks on it and a couple of two-and-a-half-year-old bucks on it. And if one of those two-and-a-half-year-olds gives me a shot, I would probably take it, but I don't expect that's going to happen. Um, so I'm not buck hunting. I don't have my hit list. I don't have target bucks. I didn't name the bucks. I don't have sheds from previous years. I don't have trail camera pictures of them, none of that kinda stuff. But I have succumbed somewhat to the modern day world of deer hunting because we are hunting property that we leased, and I'm hunting over food plots that we put in, and by we, I mean my son James. I was doing other things, so he went out and put the food plots in. But I'm hunting those plots looking for a big doe. I'm hunting with a crossbow. Oh, I know, I know. Satan's tool, the crossbow, yep. If I was a real hunter, I'd use a recurve. If I was a real hunter, I'd go out there and cut down my own, saplings, and I would twist the strings out of, sinew, and I would form my broadheads from stones I found on the side of the, creek. That's how I'd hunt, right? But I guess I'm not, so I'm using a crossbow. And again, looking for a big doe. I am hunting out of a ground blind. I don't hunt much out of tree stands these days. When I am in a tree stand, it is going to be a ladder stand. I just feel more comfortable, more confident in a ladder stand. Um, we have, 1, 2, 3, 4 food plots on this property, and all of them are getting some decent action in daytime right now. The one that's getting the most action is about 150 yards from where I sat last time. I would like to get over to that food plot when the wind direction is right, but the only thing we have on that food plot is a hanging stand. I wish we had a ladder stand in there. I wish we had a ground blind in there. That's what I would prefer to hunt out of. One of those, either the Wraith 270 see-through ground blind from Primal, I love those, or the new Harvester blind, which I haven't been able to hunt out of yet. But at this point, that food plot is getting a lot of, daytime activity, and by daytime, I mean, before dark, just before dark, but still plenty of shooting light. And we are reluctant to get in there right now and try to slip a ground blind in there and screw the whole thing up, because we haven't quite figured out the deer movement there. We think we know where they're bedding, they're coming right to that food plot, and to slip a ground blind in there would change things, we don't wanna do it. So my last hunt out there, it was a nice cold night. It just felt like the deer were gonna be moving. Um, oh, and I will say we are using trail cameras too. We are keeping an eye on things. So we're using leased property, over food plots, using trail cameras. So see, I have bought into the concept somewhat of modern day deer hunting. I haven't, I'm gonna take advantage of the tools that are available. So, I'm sitting on this food plot, and I can see from watching, and again, technology in the outdoors, right? You can love it or not, but I'm gonna take advantage of it. I'm looking at pictures of an adjacent food plot on my cell phone and seeing that there are deer in that other food plot, but there are no deer in the food plot that I'm sitting in. Just before dark. I mean, it's pretty dark. If a deer walked into the food plot, I would be able to see it and maybe get a shot, but it's getting dark. I hear one deer come moving through to the south of me. Don't know what it was, never saw it, didn't come into the food plot, never got a look at it. I hear a deer coming up out of the swamp to the west of me, to the left of me, and he's slowly crunching. He's coming to the food plot. I have no doubt he or she, probably a she, is coming into the food plot, maybe in time to give me a shot. Crunch, 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 stop. I think, "Okay, she." In my mind, I'm picturing a big doe there waiting to walk out and give me a shot. Then I hear her turn around and go crunch, crunch, crunch back the other way. She didn't blow, she didn't snort, she didn't take off. I suspect what the wind was in my favor. I suspect what happened was she got up to the edge there and she saw that ground blind, which had only been out there for a few days, and she said, "I don't like the looks of that. I'm gonna turn around and go back to where I feel more safe." And that's one of the problems with ground blinds and deer. I love hunting from the ground. It's safe, it's comfortable, it hides you from the elements, and it hides your movement. But deer take a while to get used to a ground blind. You can go turkey hunting with a pop-up blind. You can put it in the middle of an open field, put a decoy in front of you at 9 o'clock in the morning, and at 10 o'clock in the morning, you can take a bird. Turkeys are not ground blind shy at all. Bears really aren't either. I've taken a lot of bears where you put the blind up in the morning and take a bear over it, kill a bear over that same night. Bears don't care about blinds. They're curious, and they might come over and tear them up or knock them down, hopefully not when you're in it, but they're not afraid of blinds. Whitetails, get a big old whitetail, matriarchal whitetail doe, and the first time she sees a blind, she's gonna turn herself inside out running away. So that's why we gotta be a little bit careful. I'm actually, tomorrow night when I go back out, I'm gonna move that blind just a little bit. Hopefully not enough to screw things up, but I'm gonna move it just a little bit, and they've been cutting out there, so we've got a bunch of big, white pine limbs that are down. I'm gonna see if I can't brush that in, hide that thing, almost make it disappear, move it about 20 yards to the north, and just give me a little bit better angle on what I think is gonna happen there. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, my goal for this season is to shoot a big, mature no, shoot a nice Michigan doe, right? That if I do that, I will have taken a turkey during the springtime season, I will have taken a bear during bear season, and I will take a deer during deer season. That should give us plenty of wild game to enjoy and a lot of great memories from the field as well. What else? I've been seeing a lot of pictures of big bucks. Just because I'm not buck hunting doesn't mean you can't be, and a lot of people are, and I'm seeing pictures of big Michigan whitetail bucks. Love to see them. Love to post them. Send them to me in an email, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. If there is a kid in the picture, I will put the hashtag on there, Forward Fuels Tradition, and each month we will draw a winner from those posts, and you'll get a $50 gift card to the Forward convenience stores. How cool is that? My bear meat is at Michigan brand right now. We're doing 75% burger, 25% brats. So looking forward to that. Coming up on this week's show here after the break, I'm gonna talk with Don Barnard. He's a friend of mine. He's a retired DNR fisheries biologist. I wanna talk about fall muskie fishing and more. Then Tom Weston from the Michigan Sportsmen Against Hunger program. How can you donate your wild game to someone in need? In hour number 2, Nick Green. Nick used to be with MUSC. Now he's working with the Nimrod Society at Hillsdale College, and they are fighting for the future of hunting and fishing in this, state. I wanna talk to you about that. Some interesting comments from Nick. Adam Bump from the DNR, previewing the Michigan pheasant season coming up very soon. This week's Ask Avery question deals with the outbreak of EHD in Michigan. How bad is it? Chad Stewart will answer that question. And in our third hour, more pheasant hunting, deer hunting, bear hunting, and more with Tom Lounsbury, and we will wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner. That's all coming up this week right here on Outdoor Magazine. All right, my friends, Josh Mapes is in here. Ruben, how are things in Colorado? Vaughn, good morning. Lance's, Great Lakes reservoirs. Erica, good morning. Ruben and Josh Mapes is with us. I am enjoying it a little bit. As long as I approach it, Josh, and you know this, Josh, as long as I approach it from the right direction and perspective. Any more thoughts into a Wednesday night live at Rapid River? They haven't really jumped on that, so I'm not gonna force it. All right, my friends, have a great day. I'll see you tonight for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. My name is Mike Avery. The radio show is called Outdoor Magazine. My website, mikeaveryoutdoors.com. My email address, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. Have a great day.